Hey everyone, welcome to the season finale of CHS Radio. We have a great lineup of segments for you, so I won't spend too much time talking, but if you're listening for the first time, welcome. CHS Radio is a podcast put together by Calvert Academy High School students who are looking to inform and inspire their audience while tickling a few funny bones along the way. First, we'll hear the announcements presented by Olivia. Sit back and enjoy the podcast.
Hello everyone, Olivia here with your announcements. As a few of you may know, the civic students recently conducted a mock trial to find out if Allie was responsible for the drugs found in her backpack. The mock trial has finished and Allie has been determined as not guilty. I'm going to remind everyone one more time of the semester end dates. Cohort A on June 10th, Cohort B on the 22nd, and Cohort C on the 30th. Also, keep an eye out for the third and final act of Ava's Awakening, produced by our very own Readers Theater. It will be released in June. Well, that's all I have for you guys today, so enjoy the podcast. And from all of us here at CHS Radio, have a great summer.
How would you feel if you lived on a boat? Would it be thrilling, inspiring, or maybe a bit of both? We have another edition of Joshua's awe-inspiring adventures in which Joshua tells you about what life on a boat has been for him. Enjoy the seas.
Welcome back. In this segment, I wanted to finish up my fifth segment that I did in the last episode of CHS Radio. So sit back, get some of that rum you were saving for later, and enjoy part 2 of the special edition of Joshua's awe-inspiring adventures.
Storm-wise, we were either very, very lucky, God was with us, or my dad was very good with the weather charts. It was probably a combination of all three. I mean, we've been through 2 hurricanes that happened to kill a lot of people in the Philippines and Vietnam, and killed the guy who was sailing behind us a fair ways, but we timed it just right when we left Hong Kong, so we actually had really, really good weather when we were between the 2 hurricanes out there. I'm still thanking God for looking out for us and for the help of the Hong Kong weather people. I've also been through some pretty rough storms, 60 plus knots of wind, and really bad waves, but nothing life-threatening. I've met other sailors who have been through far worse stuff. Fires on board, capsizes, falling overboard, stuff like that. By now, you're probably thinking that my family and I are completely nuts. And you're right. You gotta be a little nutty to do what we are doing. After all, we aren't doing the average thing, that's for sure. By the way, I actually tend to call people who live on land lovers. So yes, you land lovers may have your great houses, lawns, and other landy stuff, but I got my boat, pirates who will attack me, storms, giant waves, huge sharks, scurvy, of course the possibility of drowning, and the whole ocean. So yeah, beat that. Also, one more thing. A lot of people ask me what my stance is on politics and who I would pick for president this year, and of course if I could vote. Here's what I got to say. Boat people are being discriminated against. All we get is rules and regulations that infringe on our freedom as boat people. We don't have a candidate who will properly represent our needs and wants. Instead, we have these land-loving politicians who love the land. Even Bernie, with his universal health care. I mean, I don't see him saying stuff about universal boat care. I'm not feeling the burn. And Trump. I mean, I was hoping he would talk about helping boat people, but no. All he wants to talk about is building a wall to help you land lovers. Where is my seawall to protect us boat people from tsunamis? Dump all of the candidates. So until I see a proper candidate, Democrat or Republican, who will properly represent boat people, I'm not voting at all. I want to see a make boat people great again. Anyway, I've been very, very lucky that I've been able to travel around to all of these amazing places, and I'm glad that I've been able to share with you listeners some of the adventures that I've done, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to them throughout this school year. I got a couple more I'll be doing, but then I'm done because I'm heading out of Calvert at the end of this school year. One more thing. On board my boat, her name is Seaglass, I'm the first mate, which basically means that I'm the dishwasher, boat cleaner, sail raiser, part-time helmsman, and captain's assistant. Yippee! I can't wait to get promoted. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed listening to me talk about my lifestyle and that you learned something new about boating. May you have fair winds and calm seas. And this is Captain Joshua, who is actually the real captain of the Black Pearl, the HMS Victory, the USS Enterprise CVN-65. Actually, all of that is false. I'm unfortunately only the captain of Seaglass's dinghy, but one of these days I shall be captain of something much grander. I hope.
The 2016 election just keeps getting closer and closer, and it can get pretty confusing at times. Here's Olivia with an overview of what's happening as of now in her segment entitled Campaign Brain.
Hello listeners, Olivia here, and welcome back to Campaign Brain. As this is the last episode of the school year, I'm here to fill you in on how things look as we prepare for the national conventions in July. As was briefly mentioned in my last segment, both Ted Cruz and John Kasich have suspended their Republican presidential campaigns. This, of course, only leaves Donald Trump, who is now being called the presumptive nominee. Because of this, I will not be listing any primary or caucus results for the Republicans, as I feel it is no longer necessary. Instead, we will briefly talk about delegate counts on both sides and about the conventions. But first, I will list the primary and caucus results for the Democrats. Hillary Clinton has won Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, New York, and Guam. Bernie Sanders has won Rhode Island, Indiana, and West Virginia. Now, instead of poll numbers, I'm going to tell you the number of delegates that each candidate has earned. I will only be listing the candidates that are still in the race. First up, Donald Trump has 1,134 delegates, which is really close to the 1,237 needed to clinch a first ballot nomination. Hillary Clinton has 2,240 delegates, 524 of which are superdelegates. And Bernie Sanders has 1,473 delegates, and 40 of those are superdelegates. A Democrat needs 2,383 delegates to win a first ballot nomination. Okay, let's talk conventions. The first one is the Republican National Convention. This is going to be held at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. It will take place during July 18th through the 21st. This convention will officially name the Republican nominee. The Democratic National Convention will be held a week later, from July 25th to the 28th. This convention to name the Democratic nominee will be held at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lastly, I want to briefly mention that once the nominees are announced, they will have until November 8th to fiercely campaign in what is called the general election. There will be debates, rallies, television ads, fundraisers, and more. But then, on Tuesday, November 8th, 2016, American citizens all over the country will head to the polls, cast their votes, and help determine the next president of the United States. This is a breaking news alert. Donald Trump has now obtained the 1,237 delegates needed to clinch the Republican nomination. It has been an absolute pleasure being able to share campaign information with you guys. I have high hopes of a bright future for not only our country and the president, but also for CHS Radio, Campaign Brain, and our wonderful producer, Rachel Peterson. With a heavy heart, thank you all for listening to me today. Olivia Mann signing out.
Renewals, cancellations, new series. Sometimes the suspense of whether or not your favorite TV show is coming back is equal to the suspense in that show. Rachel's here in the TV division to tell you what's happening in the TV world.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to CHS Radio's TV division. As always, I'm your host, Rachel. Want to know what got renewed, what's new, and what's taking an extended summer vacation? Sit back and put on some sunscreen, because you're about to find out. May is the season for TV news, apparently, so hold on to your hats. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Hulu's new drama The Path, starring Hugh Dancy, was renewed for a second season. The last episode of the 10-episode first season aired on May 25th. Hulu also ordered a 5th season for The Mindy Project, which it saved from cancellation last year. New episodes of its 26-episode 4th season will still be released through to July. The long-running crime drama Criminal Minds was renewed by CBS for a 12th season. Ashton Kutcher's new comedy The Ranch was renewed by Netflix for a second season, which is set to premiere in 2017 with 20 more episodes. Unlike most other Netflix originals, the season is going to be released in 2 batches. Another Netflix original comedy, F is for Family, starring Postmodern Jukebox's Haley Reinhart, was picked up for a second season. The animated series, based on the life of Bill Burr, will have a 10-episode second season, though no return date has been announced yet. CBS's comedy Life in Pieces was picked up for a second season, set to air in the 2016-2017 lineup. Supergirl, a CBS drama, has been renewed for a second season, though it's moving over to the CW where it can be on the same network as its related DC shows. Production is also moving from LA to Vancouver to cut back on its sizable filming cost. The season of comedies. ABC renews The Real O'Neills for a second season. ABC also ordered a second season for its new drama The Catch. American Crime, an ABC drama, was renewed for a third season which will once again focus on a new crime with new characters. Ken Jeong's new comedy Dr. Ken is returning for a second season on ABC. Another ABC comedy, Last Man Standing, starring Tim Allen, was renewed for a 6th season. Fox's fantasy drama Sleepy Hollow was picked up for a 4th season. NBC's comedy The Carmichael Show was renewed for a 3rd season. Fox's long-running animated comedy Family Guy was renewed for a 15th season. CBS's new medical drama Code Black has been granted a 2nd season. Matthew Perry's comedy The Odd Couple has been renewed for a 3rd season by CBS. CBS also renewed its new Criminal Minds spin-off Criminal Minds Beyond Borders for a 2nd season. A CBS reality show Undercover Boss was renewed for an 8th season. Fox's adorable reality show MasterChef Junior was ordered a 5th season. Comedy Central's Comedy, Another Period, was renewed for a 3rd season. The Americans, an FX drama, has been renewed for 2 final seasons. The series will be concluding after its 6th season, and its 5th season will begin airing next year. A Lifetime reality show, Project Runway, was renewed through season 18. And now we segue into the pain. Lots of pain. On to the cancellations! CBS's new CSI spin-off, CSI Cyber, was cancelled after 2 seasons, bringing the CSI franchise to an end after 16 years. ABC's drama Nashville was cancelled after 4 seasons. Another ABC drama, The Family, starring Rupert Graves, was cancelled after its 1st season. ABC's comedy The Muppets was also axed after its 1st season. Nathan Fillion's drama Castle was cancelled after 8 seasons. Unfortunately, yet another ABC drama, Agent Carter, was cancelled after its 2nd season. Fox cancelled Rob Lowe's new comedy The Grinder after its 1st season. John Stamos' new comedy Grandfathered was also cancelled by Fox after 1 season. One of our most, debatably, heartbreaking cancellations this issue is ABC's comedy extravaganza Gallivant, which will not be returning for a 3rd season. Fox's freshman comedy Cooper Barrett's Guide to Surviving Life was axed after its 1st season. Another new Fox comedy, Border Town, was cancelled after its 1st season. The CW's drama Containment was cancelled after 1 season. Fox's new drama Second Chances will not be getting a 2nd season. NBC's drama Game of Silence was cancelled after its 1st season. An NBC comedy telenovela was also cancelled after its 1st season. NBC's medical drama Heartbeat was axed after 1 season. MTV's comedy Faking It will not be returning for a 4th season. Another NBC comedy, Undateable, was cancelled after 3 seasons. Yet another NBC comedy, Crowded, was cancelled after its 1st season. After 2 seasons, NBC cancelled its drama The Mysteries of Laura. Freeform's drama Recovery Road was cancelled after its 1st season. CBS cancelled its new drama Rush Hour after, say it with me, 1 season. Showtime's comedy House of Lies was cancelled after 5 seasons. A&E, you know, that network A&E cancelled its new horror drama Damien after only 1 season. CBS's drama Limitless, based off of the movie by the same name, was also cancelled after 1 excellent season. Yikes. Not many new shows survived, huh? Wow. For a brief bit of news, the X-Files won't be returning for the 2016-2017 season, but another season is not out of the cards quite yet. And now we move along to the new shows. ABC has a new comedy premiering on June 14th called Uncle Buck, which is based off of the 1989 film by the same name. It follows an irresponsible and unemployed man named Buck, who moves in with his brother and sister-in-law to help out around their house. Also premiering on June 14th is TBS's new comedy Wrecked, which focuses on the survivors of a plane that crashed on a deserted island. June 22nd will see American Gothic, CBS's new drama about a prominent Boston family that realizes they could be linked to an infamous stream of murders. Finally, Sundance TV releases its new drama The A-Word on July 13th. This one follows a family whose son is diagnosed with autism. Before we move into the Recs, I have a very brief bit of news for you guys on the Gilmore Girls front. Lauren Graham recently announced the name of the revival series on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. The collection of new episodes will be called Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. Alright, so we all know that I'm not great at articulating my love for TV shows or music, but this one is important. So wade through the pain and the sorrow and just accept the fact that it's amazing, alright? You've all heard someone say that a show or a book has changed their lives, which is why I decided to save my most life-changing show for our last issue. BBC's Merlin. I won't get into how it changed things for me, but I will get into the fact that it's spectacularly amazing, even if we don't talk about the last season. So, what do you need to know in order to consider a show? Merlin is an adaptation of the Arthurian legend, one where Merlin himself is a young warlock who goes to live with a physician in Camelot, where he has to hide his magic under the threat of death. He promptly makes enemies with Prince Arthur Pendragon, but by the end of the first episode finds himself appointed the prince's manservant. The show follows the two as an exasperated Merlin works to save Arthur's life time and time again, all while secretly honing his magical abilities. Through death, and romance, and heartbreak, and more death, and so many amazing characters, this is a show for anyone who loves period dramas, or magic, or fantasy, or quality content. It was an amazing opportunity for all of the actors, and served as a breakout role for the four mains, especially Colin Morgan, who portrays Merlin. If you're interested in checking it out, and you should be, you can find all 5 seasons on Netflix. Well, thank you all for joining us in our final episode. Our blog will still remain active, so if you'd like to sob over Merlin or any other shows mentioned in CHS Radio, you can do so over at chsradio.tumblr.com/ask. If you'd like to keep an eye on my unhealthy TV habits, you can follow me on followmy.tv as Dragonlord, which you will also finally understand when you watch Merlin. It's been a pleasure, everyone. Pleasure indeed. Good day. I said good day.
It's nice to get to know someone, and in this issue's interview, you'll get to know one of Calvert's students. Our interviewer Raquel brings you another student spotlight.
Hello everyone and welcome back. You are listening to your interviewer Raquel, and today I have a very special student spotlight for you. I have the honor of interviewing our very own amazing producer and director, Rachel. Now you can come on and
I am here on air as I have never been before.
Never. No one
ever. Nope. Never.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. And
thank you for pressuring me.
Oh yeah, because we need to have an interview of you on this radio.
Do we though? Do we really?
Yes, we do. We really do.
It's debatable, but I'll go with that.
So the question that everyone wants to know: how did you start CHS and become the director-producer?
Well, this was actually... this was a year ago because I recently discovered that our first season was actually only 3 episodes, which was very weird to realize considering that we've done, 11 episodes this season, which is quite a difference. But I got the idea for CHS Radio when our newspaper, Calvert Voices, was created, and I've never particularly been interested in nonfiction writing or journalism, but I really liked the idea of having that sort of outlet for, student expression, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a radio show? And initially, I had something completely different in mind, and I'm actually really glad that Dr. Rad came in and was like, haha, that's a dumb idea. We're not gonna do that. She didn't say that. She said, we could do this. And I'm like, hey, that's so much better than my idea. But that was how it was created. I was like, what if we did a radio show? And they were like, oh my god, that's so cool. And I was like, right? And it became a thing. Enlightening.
Yes. Well, that's awesome. I actually do think that it is a very good outlet for a lot of students, and it's quite fun to do.
Yes, and it's especially fun when you can force people to read their own writing on air. But,
Haha, no.
As you do.
That's not so fun.
I thought it was incredibly fun.
Well, I didn't. And funnily enough, I was the one reading it.
Ah, well, that's because you're the host of Calvert Compositions.
Well, you could have, filled in that one time. That would have been
That
fun.
would have been incredibly strange and horrible on so many levels. Although nobody would have been able to tell the difference, apparently.
Exactly. It could have been April Fool's all over again.
Oh dear. Do we really need to repeat that? The answer is yes, we do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is the only answer. So, everyone here also knows that you are an amazing singer. So, yes, you are.
Okay.
So, who inspired you to start singing, and whenabouts did you start?
Oh dear. I've actually wanted to sing since I was really, really super small. And I honestly, it's been so long I can't remember when it started, but I seem to remember it starting around the time that I was listening to a lot of wizard rock, which, for those of you who don't know, is Harry Potter music.
That's so amazing.
And it really is. And I just remember I was probably 9 or 10, laying in my bed listening to I think there's this one song called Dobby Stole My Yarmulke or something. And I just remember distinctly, I don't know why I remember that, laying in bed listening to that, and I was just like, I want to become a wizard rock artist. And then it was hilarious because I couldn't sing and I couldn't write lyrics to save my life, and it just went downhill, and I stopped pursuing that dream for a few years. And then, actually, this coincides with what I was talking about in my TV segment, when I was recommending the show Merlin, and how it changed my life. It inspired me to write songs based on the show, which then revitalized my interest in singing and writing and my entire life.
That is awesome. And I completely agree with all of those. Wizard rock, it brings me joy. Yes. So if you could collaborate with any singer, who would you do it with?
Oh, actually, that's super easy because my answer is Thomas Sanders.
I knew it! That's right. Okay. Got me squeaking your else. Oh god.
Okay. No, I think that would honestly, genuinely be my answer because I can't think of anyone else that I would love because he's just such a great guy and he's so nice and his voice is amazing and I feel like that would just be so fun and it would probably turn out amazing and the experience in and of itself would just be worth everything in the world.
Would actually. And I'm glad you partially did that.
Yes, and just for background on that, I actually did have the opportunity to sing a little bit with Thomas Sanders at Playlist Live when we met him, and it was very short, and it was mostly the dialogue section of Love's an Open Door from Frozen, but it was amazing, and I exploded, and my life has changed.
Where do you find the ideas for your lyrics and stories, since we all know that you also write amazing poems and stories?
Please. Well, that is actually a very loaded question because if you go by my lyrics, they're mostly, judging by just my purely original works, not anything that was inspired by Merlin or anything like that, most of them come from my own personal experiences. I have a lot of songs that talk a lot about depression or just general struggles of living life, and
Struggles.
most of them exactly Yes, struggles. Yes, the struggles of life. Yes. I also just have stories, but there's also, just life experiences beyond just emotion. Like, I have one song that I wrote called Unrequited Something, and that was inspired by this guy that I really liked for about 2 years, and I didn't think that he liked me back, and I didn't speak to him for like a year, and I really missed him, and I wrote that song, and then that was the inspiration for that. And my stories in general, the one story that I'm working on right now, it's currently untitled, was actually inspired by this hiking trail that we have nearby our house. It goes sort of up a mountain and then down the mountain and into the forest and stuff. And there was this one section with this fallen log, and I was looking at it and I was just like, this would be a fantastic campsite. And as we continued walking, there was this sort of rock shelf. It was like a staircase made of rocks, and it was really steep and really hard to go down, and I was just immediately had the image of someone having to run down this staircase, and they were being chased by something, and that sparked the inspiration for my novel. I knew that it had to be set in the Middle Ages. I knew that it had to be fantasy and magic, and I knew nothing else until like a couple weeks later or something, and that one story was born. Literally.
Yes! Which is an amusing story, and I quite enjoy it. Just saying. What is your favorite aspect about writing? Which basically can be interpreted in a lot of ways. I just thought that would be a good question.
Man. Actually, oh god, there's so many different ways to interpret this. The first thing that comes to mind is what type of writing, I suppose. Without a doubt, I would have to answer action scenes. Like, anything that I write, I have the hardest time writing the expository scenes or any scenes linking the action together. And a lot of stories that I have, a lot of short stories, are just right in the middle of the action or leading up to the action, because I just love it, because it can be fast-paced, it can be run-on sentences, it can be what I like to call chaotic calm, which is the most fun to write. And you can use so many different components. I'm actually thinking of this one scene in particular where one character in my novel almost strangled another character. I'm fine. And
I strangle you anyways. Yes, go on.
Ditto. And there's just so many opportunities with that type of scene, because since he was being strangled, that lack of oxygen, you're completely disoriented and you're just like slowly passing out basically. And so there's just so much potential with that, because you can add that element of disorientation with the run-on sentences, like I said, and the just writing things how they shouldn't be. One of my favorite quotes from that section is, "Everything seemed too loud, too bright, and he was choking on stars and blinded by the darkness." And just that contrast that doesn't make sense at all, because obviously you can't choke on stars, you can't be blinded by the darkness, but it's the confusion of your brain not getting enough oxygen, and there's just so much potential with action scenes. I could literally talk about it forever. So I'm going to stop now.
I completely agree that it's actually really, really fun as a reader to read, especially your action scenes, because you do manipulate words in a way that is very interesting and intriguing, and you keep attention very well.
Well, you know, I could say the same about you. Like, as someone who cannot write expository or the in-between scenes, not saying that your action is lacking in any way, because I know you don't like your action, but I love your action, but the build-up and everything in between is like, how do you do it? How do you do it? It's amazing. So,
because I just can't write action, so I have to write something. I'm just like,
oh my god.
I don't know, I like writing thought processes, like...
Yes, and you're very good at that. Tell me more.
Like, sort of like interpersonal confrontation kind of, but
yes.
not. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fun.
Ugh.
Anyways, yeah, but very true. So, I wrote this question kind of last minute, and I'm not even sure what it means personally. But what is the biggest influence on your writing? And by that, I kind of meant what your goals are and what you're trying to reach, and if any sort of other writing impacts that.
Yeah. I'm actually genuinely not sure. I just sort of write and then cry and then get stuck for a few months and then write more. But honestly, like, being serious here, I think your writing actually has the most influence on my book, because for everyone listening, don't compare yourself to other people. It's a horrible thing. Don't do it. You will hate everything in life. But comparing my writing to yours, other than the pain, makes me want to be a better writer. And back when I was behind you in word count, that goal of, oh, this other teenager has reached 60,000 words, I can totally do that. And I think, honestly, okay, the most important thing is to have another writer that's passionate about what they're doing, another writer that understands the little things and that can help you work through your problems and won't just kind of brush off your story, or they will sit there and listen to you ramble for 2 hours straight about, well, my character is not listening to me and he's not completing this action that he needs to be doing and he's being really stubborn about it. And you could literally talk about the same thing for hours and they'll take it and they'll give you solutions. And that's genuinely the most important thing about writing, because that gives you the inspiration and the drive and the help and the support. And yeah.
Well, that very much goes the same for you, because you actually really helped me out as well. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I kind of positively or negatively, one or the other, impacted you in general. I'm glad to help. Well,
you negatively impact me every time I read your writing.
Oh,
Then
thanks.
I'm just left in this puddle of emotion and I can't write in that state. I'm just left here drowning like other characters that we don't speak of.
Wow, you
And
didn't
yeah,
go there.
you want to give me some lip, I will give it right back to you.
Don't have to mention water in general. Okay, because that's the puddle of my tears when I read your story.
Please. Wait, are you kidding? Okay.
I'm not.
We won't go there.
Uh-huh. Okay. Lastly, I have, if you could master one skill that you don't have right now, what would it be?
Oh, I like this question. That just extends into so many different things. I want to say musical composition, but I don't really have that skill. I can do a few chords, but I don't really count that very much. But just totally out there and mildly random, the first thing that actually came to mind was cello or violin, because I have a deep-seated love for strings, man. I love them.
I completely agree with you there. And if you could do that, you would only break my heart more in general, just with your creations. So I agree with that. That was the last question, so...
But thank you very much for having me. I really appreciated the mild peer pressure that went into this interview, and the questions that you asked were really awesome.
Well, thank you very much for accepting my peer pressure and becoming your own radio.
Acceptance played into it.
Yes, and I'm sure everyone really enjoyed it, and yeah. Thank you all very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this interview, which I'm sure you did, because hearing from Rachel is always good. Anyways, I hope you have a good rest of the month.
Every piece of writing is unique, no matter what type or length. Here at Calvert High School, we have many talented writers, and we like to feature some of their writings. Here's Raquel reading a Calvert composition composed by a student.
Hello everyone, it is Raquel here on Calvert Compositions, and today I have been single-handedly bullied and peer-pressured by our director Rachel into reading something. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I have been forced to read my own writing, which in itself is a terrible act, but I do hope you actually enjoy the selection. This particular story I wrote for my own leisure, as well as for NaNoWriMo in 2015. It might be a bit sketchy, but I hope you enjoy it. The clearing grew quiet, as Garrett and Fen had seemingly finished their bickering and thrown down their branches in surrender. Now they approached, both with similar irked expressions. Fen threw himself down on a nearby log and huffed loudly. For a few moments no one spoke, only listened to the sigh of the trees. "Here," said Garrett, eagerly bouncing up and down on his heels. "Tarek, why don't you tell us one of your stories? You just came back from the city, you must have some new ones." Frey glanced up at Tarek, her own interest piqued. Next to her, Ellie, Fen, and Mari all stopped at their game, expectantly turned to Tarek. "Yes, you haven't told one in a while," Mari agreed. Tarek gave a low sigh. "I can't say I've heard anything new worth a story. Not anything remotely nice, anyways." "Come on, what about an old one then?" insisted Fen, his sullen manner vanishing. "Just a quick one," Garrett threw in. Soon everybody was clamoring, listing their favorites and their requests. Frey gave Tarek a grin and added, "If you do, we'll throw in a berry cake later tonight." Tarek looked faintly nettled under the barrage. All right, Frey, I'll be expecting that cake. Which one do you all want, then?" "The Marchers," Mari suggested hopefully. "No, not the Marchers. Tell us about the one with the hollow tree." "The Northmen, with their magic and islands," said Ellie. Suddenly everyone went silent. Garrett scuffled a boot, and Mari bit her lip. Fen gave Ellie a little shake. "We don't talk about the Northmen. Talking about them summons them." "Why, they don't come here, do they?" Ellie asked, suddenly fearful. "No, Ellie, they don't," Frey said quickly with a glare at Fen. "Why don't we just listen to the Marchers? That way—" "No, I'll tell you about the Northmen," Tarek interrupted abruptly. Frey opened her mouth to protest, but Tarek was quicker. "What's the harm in a story?" he said, looking up at Frey with a familiar defiance she had commonly seen in Kaith. Frey hesitated. "If May or anyone else knows—" Tarek raised his eyebrows, challenging her to continue. Frey, however, stopped speaking and gave a curt nod. So what if the others in the glen disapproved? There really was no harm in a story. Immediately at her approval, everyone scrambled for a proper seat as, without another glance in Frey's direction, Tarek began the story of the Northmen. There are some mysterious things in this world, forces that we don't understand and probably never will. The earth whispers to us, even if we don't hear it. But there are some people who can. Tarek continued, his voice growing slowly more fervent. There are people who have the power that allows them to hear the ways of the world, and even speak back. This power is called Sior in their language, although we call it Seath in ours. From it, they could see people's destinies, things that hadn't happened yet, or things from the past forgotten. They could transform to animals, and inhabit the eyes and minds of unwary men. They could deal out death and misfortune or bad health. They could even take energy from someone and keep it to themselves or give it to others. They could snap a man's power and drain him from life where he stood. Mari's eyes had grown as wide as saucers, and her mouth opened slightly. To do this, they used the power of the runic symbols by drawing them on their skin from the coal of the sacred fire, or drawing the symbols in the air with a lingering flame. However, in order not to burn up from the inside out, they were forced to wear talismans to curb their power, marking them like dogs on a chain. These people go by many a name: the Seathmen, the Arelaz, or even the Damned. They call them that because it was the very power that they owned, that terrible, beautiful power, that made them so singularly alone. They were born to the Seath without any regard to blood or heritage, and found themselves placeless in the world. They were lucky, all the men said. They got off easy, others added. but any Seathman would gladly swap their gifts just to be accepted. But men are born with jealousy in their hearts, and they felt only hate towards those wielders of magic. They hunted them down like prey, they captured them and beat them to death. No leniency could be found in any kingdom for those with Seath in their blood. So they only hid and cowered, for there were not enough of them to fight back against the masses. Tarek leaned forward, staring at them all with alighted eyes. But one day, there came someone that could wield the Seath like no other. One that could strike fear into the hearts of the bravest warrior with just her uttered name. Moraine it was, and a woman of such power had never been heard of before. She loved all life and wished no harm on even the men driven by jealousy. Yet seeing the dreadful pain and suffering that her fellows endured, she called them to her like mother to children. They came from all kingdoms and countries across the world, and joined her as she set sail. Across the ocean they went, a fleet of more than 1,000, and together they sailed around the world twice over, searching the far corners for some place they could settle in peace. They went south to the hot lands and the sand forests, west to where savages make their realm, and east to where people walk between worlds. Nowhere could they find sanctuary, for all feared their power and wrath. Nowhere would open their doors to that unknown. So they continued sailing, going far into the north, where the sea is wide and deeper than the sky. There they found nothing but the empty water and icy skies. There was nowhere in the whole world left for them to go. All these powerful men, women, and children collapsed in their boats and lamented, wailing for all that they had lost. And yet as their tears fell into the depth of the water, something happened. Dark shapes began rising under the ocean, rising, and then boom! Tarek gave a lurch forward, and Ellie and Fen and Mari all toppled backwards off their shared log. Tarek snickered with laughter at their reactions, and settled back onto his tree stump in a satisfied manner. After a moment his face grew serious once more, and he continued in a low murmur that drew them all closer, listening to him with enraptured ears. From where their tears had fallen, islands came up from the water like planted seeds. Islands that rose up out of the sea itself. So many of them, and it said that no one could ever count them, and if they tried, they'd die of old age before making it halfway. Ellie giggled at this, and hastily Fen put a hand over her mouth to silence her. The Seathmen, they were in awe of their creation, at the thousands of islands that had spawned from their pain and despair. They anchored their ships and walked ashore for the first time. They found birds and trees and animals ready for the hunt. They found water and fire and shelter, and at last, security. But beyond all that, beyond everything, they at last found a home. To this day, the Seathmen know that beauty comes from pain, for it shares the same threshold. So this was how they became the Northmen, from living on their enchanted islands, far, far out on the wild sea, in the chill of the north wind. Tarek finished speaking, his voice lowering to a soft whisper that was held in the breeze above their heads. Everyone stayed silent, letting his words linger in the air. In their minds they each imagined the islands that rose from the water, the people of such power, and the tears that had been shed. Well, anyways, guys, that was something that I wrote myself, and I'm so sorry you had to sit through that. But anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it in some way. I hope you all have an amazing rest of the month.
Music. What would life be without its powerful instruments and relatable lyrics? Fasten your headphones as we take a trip through new musical releases and other musical news in our Music Corner with Rachel.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CHS Radio's Music Corner. I'm your host, Rachel. Whether you listen to Bob Dylan, The Beach, or Broods, I'm here to give you the latest news from the music world. Now, as I'm sure you figured out, This is the last episode of CHS Radio, so I'm going to do my best to cram as much news into this as possible, as always, starting with our releases. June 3rd kicks off with Beartooth's new album Aggressive, as well as Cat's Eyes with Treasure House. Father Son releases Open Book on June 3rd. Jimmy Barnes has Soul Searchin' coming out on June 3rd, followed by The Kills with Ash and Ice and Lady Hawk with Wild Things. Tegan and Sarah release Love You to Death on June 3rd. Volbeat ties June 3rd off with Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie. June 10th begins with Fantasia's new album, The Definition Of. Garbage follows up with Strange Little Birds, and Congos has Egomaniac. Let Live releases If I'm the Devil on June 10th, and The Monkees releases Good Times. Nick Jonas has Last Year Was Complicated coming out on June 10th. Rival Sons releases Hollow Bones, and The Temper Trap releases Thick as Thieves both on June 10th. Gojira's new album Magma will be released on June 17th. Jake Bugg releases On My One, and Mitski releases Puberty 2, both on June 17th. June 17th will also see Neil Young with Earth. Alternative rock band Red Hot Chili Peppers releases The Getaway on June 17th. Rake has Desamor, and Swans has The Glowing Man also on June 17th. Broods releases Conscious on June 24th, and Drowners releases One Desire. Hot Hot Heat releases a self-titled album, and Iggy Azalea has Digital Distortion, both on June 24th. Our TBD for this month is Band of Horses with Why Are You Okay? This is a time when we need to remember that music dates change way more than they should. The release date for American Author's latest album, What We Live For, was switched to July 1st. Bat for Lashes releases The Bride on July 1st, along with Metrimony with Summer 08 and Area 11 with Modern Synthesis. Blink-182 has California coming out on July 1st. Diesel releases Americana on July 1st, Maxwell releases Black Summer's Night, and Silent Planet releases Everything Was Sound. Biffy Clyro starts July 8th off with Ellipsis, followed by Chevelle's The North Corridor. Roisin Murphy releases Take Her Up to Monto on July 8th. Shura has Nothing's Real coming out on July 8th. Switchfoot's new album, Where the Light Shines Through, will be released on July 18th, as well as Tansfoot's album, Schreibe mit Blut. Good Charlotte releases Young Authority on July 15th. Periphery has Periphery 3 Select Difficulty coming out on July 22nd, and Reliant K releases Air for Free. Billy Talent rounds July off with Afraid of Heights coming out on July 29th. Some other new releases to look forward to this year are Skillet, Young the Giant, Dance, Florida Georgia Line, Azealia Banks, The Black Eyed Peas, Bon Jovi, Christina Aguilera, Bad Religion, Danzig, Enigma, Falling in Reverse, Guns N' Roses, Kylie Minogue, Lady Gaga, One Republic, Pearl Jam, U2, Zendaya, and more. Now, for the sake of keeping things short and sweet, we'll roll right into the recs for this issue, taking right from what's likely shaping up to be my summer playlist. Sans half of the Gallivant soundtrack, that is. At the top of the list is Book of Love by the Monotones. This song was originally released in 1958, and it's a very catchy, very bouncy doo-wop piece. Next up is Young and Useless by This Century. First of all, This Century is an amazing band. And second, this is a song that you want to play on a high volume. It's very upbeat and has a great melody, and while it's pop rock, you can still mix it with Coke. Our third rec is another doo-wop song called Blue Moon, released by the Marcells in 1961. Again, it's another light, bouncy, and upbeat piece. Really, what more do you need other than doo-wop? The next two songs are both from Colin Hayes' Men at Work cover album. The first one is an acoustic cover of Beautiful World, and similarly, a beautiful song. The singer recognizes all of the things that he loves and all of the things that are wrong in the world, but appreciates his life nonetheless. Very calming, a little melancholy, but definitely worth a listen. The other one is his acoustic cover of Overkill, a song that's actually quite relatable and a little sad in its own way, but is also incredibly soothing. The guitar in this one is absolutely gorgeous. Up next is Every Man Knows His Plague and You Are Mine, and Easy by Tiny Little Houses, an Australian pop folk band. Tiny Little Houses has a very unique sound that's hard to place. Their songs are very fun to sing along with, but they're the type that you honestly can't describe. They have a very chill vibe, but really, you guys just have to experience them for yourselves. The last rec is very fitting for this issue, and it is Goodbye by Who Is Fancy. This might be one of my favorite songs. It's literally unbelievably catchy and has every necessary component to make it fun to sing along with. There's nothing in particular that can quite tie it to summer, but it still has that feeling to it. You know which one I'm talking about. And despite the title, though, it is more on the upbeat side and certainly not a ballad. Absolutely glorious. Check it out. And alas, we have reached the end of this segment. I want to thank you all for accompanying us on this journey, and I hope to perhaps grace your eardrums once again in the near future. If you have any songs that you're doomed to listen to for the entirety of the summer, feel free to send them to chsradio.tumblr.com/ask. You can also check out our Spotify to find the songs featured in this episode. And finally, if you'd like to keep up with my personal music shenanigans, you can follow me on last.fm as LlamaLlama33. Have a nice month, summer, and year, everyone. And stay tuned for Tell Me Now, an original song by Naomi.
Gone are the days you walk my way and I smile timidly now. I bear the pain, the embarrassing shame of thinking there was something in your heart calling out my name, calling out for a brown-eyed change. No, but instead I was not the one. No, I was just in the way. If you don't care, then you need to tell me now. Spare me some feelings, 'cause I can't bear the question always ringing, burning in my head. If you don't love me, why don't you tell me, instead of letting me hang on miserably so? If you don't care, spare me the extra fall. Tell me now. Couldn't decide which girl's eyes you'd rather look into. You let me inside for a short time, so I feel like I made it. Then you gave up, you cut me off to build up new ties with another face. So here I am trying to feel strong and not like I've been replaced. If you don't care, then you need to tell me now. Spare me some feelings, 'cause I can't bear the question always ringing, burning in my head. If you don't love me, why don't you tell me, instead of letting me hang on miserably so? If you don't care, spare me the extra fall. Tell me now. I bet one day I'll hear your name. I'll only smile at the thought of you, not be dragged down by the pain, 'cause these brown eyes found someone new. If you don't care, then you need to tell me now. Spare me some feelings, 'cause I can't bear If you don't love me, why don't you tell me? Just quit playing this stupid game, killing me slowly. So if you don't care, spare me the extra fall. Tell me now. It's okay to just let me fall. Tell me now.
It's the season finale of CHS Radio, so we asked viewers to either record or send some words on how they felt about the podcast this year. Here in our farewell compilation, we gave you guys the chance to share what CHS Radio means to you, and we'd like to showcase that.
Hello, listeners. As a nod to the end of CHSR, I have just a few comments to read to you guys today. The first one is from D. Gavi Feck. Decided to listen while relaxing in my chair. Good voice clarity. Good transitions. Loved the song at the end and the bloopers. Great work. Our next comment is from Ashley Marie Lewis. These girls are so much fun, and I'm so glad that I had the chance to chat with them. It was an honor to have been interviewed by them, and I can't wait to see what their future holds. Well, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for listening.
The last edition of CHS Radio. We're sorry that we have to go, but the beauty and wonder of summer calls, those times when we could just have fun and all. As the advisor this year, I've had the best time working with our amazing staff and even dabbling in rhyme. Words cannot adequately express my thoughts, but you all mean so much to me. So as a final send-off, I'll toast you with a virtual glass of peach tea. To our listeners, thank you for sharing in our creation, our joy, even with the bloopers where we were less than poised. We greatly appreciate your comments and likes, and hope that our never-ending fun has brought you delight. To those who took the time to be interviewed, thank you for inspiring us to reach for a higher altitude. Our journey is ending, yet it has only just begun. So for now, we send some CHS Radio love to everyone.
Hello everyone, it's Raquel here saying a little farewell. I'm actually going to a new school next year, so this is the last time you'll be hearing my voice. What a relief, right? First of all, I just want to say I really enjoyed reading all of the amazing pieces of creative writing that were featured in the radio throughout the year, as well as the fantastic people I got to meet throughout the interviews. Overall, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity I had to be part of CHS Radio, and all the other clubs, as well as getting to know some of the amazing students and teachers here. For one, meeting our producer and director, Rachel, was the best thing that happened to me in a long time, and I am eternally grateful for her. She's super hardworking, determined, and a really creative and individual mind, and just an amazing friend. And lastly, thank you so much for everyone who stuck with us and listened throughout the whole year. I hope you have a fantastic summer. Looking forward to the break. Raquel signing out.
Hey guys, it's Rachel. I wanted to pop on and say, well, a lot of things, which is why I decided to cut this down. Last year I was given the remarkable privilege of becoming the director and producer of CHS Radio, and the opportunity to lead our motley crew of reporters, although Vince Neil had nothing to do with it. From this experience I have learned way more than just the latest releases in TV and music. I discovered my passion for audio production and learned how to adapt into a leadership position, something that was incredibly new to me. At first it was daunting, and at times it's exasperating, but we here at CHS Radio are a family. We have our arguments, we have our differing opinions, but in the end, regardless of whether they stuck around for one episode or the duration of the show, we're family. And we may not have many listeners, but that's not why we're in it. We're in it because we're passionate about radio and about the topics that we report on. That and the English credit. Whether or not CHS Radio will return next year is under debate, but as for me, I'll be heading out of Calvert and into a different school. It'll be weird without CHSR, to say the least, but I am humbled to have been a part of this miniature legacy. This experience has helped me grow and change as a person, to become more active and spend less time hiding in the shadows, and I can't thank anyone enough for that. Not you, our audience, not our rad advisor, Dr. Radachi, nor our old principal, Dr. Myers. Not anyone. But I can certainly try. So thank you, To each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to Victoria and Corey for being our hosts. To Olivia for rocking our announcements, disclaimers, and campaign brain. Thank you to Benk, our behind-the-scenes man that ran our CSS feed back in Season 1 with the help of the trusty Slackbot. To Brianna, who may have done only one issue of movies but did it with insurmountable enthusiasm. To Naomi for being so reliable and efficient and owning all about animals and weather around the world. To Ms. Wooldridge, Miss Lewis, Mr. Herdenius, Dr. Radacci, Chloe Collins, Mrs. Otero, Fatima, and the ladies of Mercystone for being so kind and so generous and such amazing interviewees. To Ridley for lending her voice to our Bookmania segments, as well as a special review. To Naomi, Jared, Valeria, Mercystone, Ashley Marie Lewis, Sienna, Chloe Collins, Natalia, and Brianna for being our astonishingly talented musical guest stars. To all of our reporters, guests, and crew members, but especially to Raquel, who not only reigned through Calvert Compositions, Bookmania, and our interviews, but whom I met through this wonderful project and have since grown inseparably close with. Thank you for putting up with my insanity and giving it right back, for being the best writing buddy that I've ever had, for our endless supply of interesting conversations, and most of all, for being the best friend that I could ever ask for. And with this, I tip my hat to you all, and bid you a final and heartfelt farewell.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of CHS Radio. If you'd like to keep in touch, you can follow us on Twitter as CHS Radio or on Facebook.com/Calvert High Radio. You can also view our blog on chsradio.tumblr.com. Thanks for tuning in and listening throughout this year.
The information in today's podcast was gathered from Wikipedia, Real Clear Politics, IsMyShowCancelled.com, CNN, Today.com, Bloomberg.com, Incomtech, and Audionautics.
CBS's comedy Life in Pieces was renewed up. CBS's comedy Life in Pieces was renewed up for a second season.
I guess I'll just give the intro. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Untrue. Yes, we are so fit to do an interview, right?
Yes, 2 a.m. is the peak interview time.
Matthew Perry's comedy The Odd Couple has been renewed by a third season for CBS. I don't think that's how it works. This literally said CBS's new CSI spinoff, CSI Cyber, after 2 seasons. What was I on? Probably Twitter, but I mean...
that each candidate has earned. I will be... Come on, Olivia, calm down. You got this.
CBS's new drama about a prominent Boston family that realizes they could be linked to an infamous stream of murders. I mean, okay, American Gothic, I want to be able to say CBS's new drama about a prominent Boston family that realizes that someone in their family is a vampire, and it's like, scandal. Oh my god, I'll stop him from eating the reporters. It's like, I mean, would he eat them, or would he, first of all, they don't really eat people. They just drink their blood. But, I mean, you could just turn them into a vampire and be like, well, you can't expose me, because people are going to think that you're crazy, and now you're a vampire, so it's kind of not good for either of us, you know? Anyways, I digress. That realizes they could be linked to an infinite...
You are listening to your interviewer, Raquel, and today I have a very special student spotlight. Wait.
I'm snickering already.
I did it. Sundance TV releases its new drama, The A Word, on July 13th. That's my birthday. I don't know what that was, but I get excited when I see things that happen on my birthday, because nothing interesting happens on my birthday other than my birth. Yeah, my birth happens every single year, and it's like, whoa.
I'm
so excited. I'm just so excited. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm sane, clearly. Don't trust the BBC at Christmas time, kids. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's right up there with say no to drugs.
A very special student. No. Stop this book.
Get yourself together, man.
Hey, you should mute until I'm done with this sentence.
Fine.
Fine, okay.
I'm literally not even at the Jeez Louise. Poetry by Rachel.
The first one is from D. Gave. I'm gonna totally butcher that name. Oh gosh.
Okay, you guys are just gonna have to deal with me sounding like I'm gonna scream while I read this because it's not going to change. What you don't know is that I'm doing a very sad dance right now. How is it sad, you ask? Because I'm sad and I'm dancing.
I have the honor of interreviewing. Yes! Fantastic, I spelled it like that too.
If you want to talk about Merlin with anybody, find me, because Merlin, I am pointing to myself very aggressively and sadly, and I'm still dancing. Just dancing away. This is why I need to sleep more. Pleasure indeed. Good day. I said good day. Is it though? Is it really a good day? It's a day without Merlin, so is any day without Merlin a good day? The answer is no.
I literally don't know what I'm going to keep in and what I'm going to leave out. What I'm going to keep in or leave out.
Hello. It's me, Mario. And to everyone that has sent in any pieces of their writing for Calvert Captures. And last but not least, to Raquel, who is not only... Did I just say Calvert Captures? Well, that wasn't in my script, so... Hey everyone! Welcome back to CHS Radio's Music Corner. I'm your host, Rachel. I sound very amused and kind of strange, but, I'm speaking, so it's a given.
Well, that's all for the... Stop stuttering, Liv.
I like that. Seal the deal and let's boogie. That's like Crime Boss meets Broadway. Seal the deal and let's boogie. Oh, it's me! Garbage follows up with strange little... Oh my god, it's literally me. Garbage, strange little birds. I am a strange little bird and garbage. I can relate to them so much.
I'm being serious. I'm being seriously here, okay? I'm being seriously.
Amazing.
And Congos has egomaniac, yes. Egomaniac. That's when you just love ego too much and you're like, whoa. Yes. What We Live For was switched to July... Really? Oh, jeez. Here's a tip. June and July are spelled differently. You can't just change the N to an L. That doesn't spell July.
Bickering endlessly over whose book is more painful. The answer is Raquel's. In case anyone was wondering, the answer is wholeheartedly Raquel's. Just ask anyone in the entire world, even though, one person has read it. But that's fine.
Oh god. No. Serious. Well...
Biffy Clyro releases July 18th. You can't release a date. You can if it's a release date. Oh, yeah. German.
Well, that's all for the... Can't get this ending right. Alright.
As well as Tanzwut's album. Oh, look, now I'm Irish.
No, you were very good with being interviewed. So. Mm-hmm. It wasn't 2 a.m.
Yeah, okay, that's actually very true. I think I should put a disclaimer on this. If it wasn't 2 a.m, my interview would probably make a little bit more sense.
No, it's good. It's good. Oh my god.
Okay, well, you're literally me, and you could interpret the things that I'm saying, so.
Well, you do have a point with that.
With Scheibe mit Blut. That's what they say about having to speak German. Scheibe mit Blut. I really hate my life and my job, Not that it's a job, but...
That made them so singularly... What kind of word is that? Why is that even a word? Why is that here?
Schreibe mit Blut. Schreibe mit Blut. Schreibe mit Blut. I'm Jewish. What do you want from me? How creeped out would everyone be if I started reading out their Spotify feed? Raquel last listened to Hopeless Wanderer by Mumford & Sons 1 hour ago. Corey last listened to A Daily Anthem by David Cook 1 hour ago. Brianna just listened to Wherever I Go by One Republic 8 hours ago. Ridley just listened to Oasis by Amanda Palmer 8 hours ago.
But I guess I'll do like a little outro kind of thing.
Yes. Do an outro. It's fine. We're all fine. It's fine. It's okay.
You sound so fine.
It's fine.
Yep, I hear you.